All right, congratulations everybody. We're here. We made it to C1X. Today we get to talk to Clare Frantz. Clare has been competing in Ultimate Frisbee at just about every level you can imagine, from captaining the KU Betties to winning gold with Team USA at the U24 World Championships, to playing professionally in the Premier Ultimate League with DC Shadow, where she won the championship in 2025. She's a co-founder of Wicked Ultimate, has played for clubs across Kansas City, Chicago, Minneapolis, DC, and now serves as president of Kansas City Ultimate. She's a player, a founder, and a leader. Clare, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much, Brennan. Happy to be here. Appreciate the invite.
First podcast.
Yeah, man, exactly. So I'm blushing. I got everything, all the nervous system is activated. So
try reading out loud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You crushed it. It was a perfect intro. We nailed it.
We'll try.
Yeah.
No, but I want to jump in. So Summer League is off.
Yeah, exactly. Are you playing this year? I forget actually.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, nice. In Open?
Yep.
Love it.
Yep. Yeah, I like the Open division.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think? Is it just another summer league, or is it is there special qualities to the league that you love?
Yeah, I think it's functionally just another summer league. Once you've run enough of them, they all kind of tend to go the same way. The thing that we've been a little bit bummed about lately is just our depletion in numbers over the years, which I think a lot of sports can probably empathize with, at least post-pandemic. I mean, the world of sport just looks a little bit different, especially at the recreational level. So we're trying to combat that as a board as best we can, but we're also just people. We don't have all the answers all the time,
right.
Mm-hmm. And so we're kind of just brainstorming, bouncing ideas off each other, and we're trying to be solution-oriented, but sometimes it's just if people don't sign up, they just don't sign up. They just don't want to or whatever. You can try to make your product as appealing as possible, but ultimately it's their decision, Mm-hmm. So we've felt a little bit stifled in that lately. So we're trying to make the most of it. We got 8 open teams, 6 mixed teams. It's solid. But when you think about way back when, it was 12 and 12, And so we're just what's going on there? And, how can we help that out? So that's kind of an ever-present problem for us.
Yeah. What do you think are sort of the top 2 ideas on how to get it up and going again?
Actually, before recording, we were just talking about Claude AI because we actually put in some specific numbers into AI and asked what are the patterns that you're seeing? It can just do, such quick pattern recognition, obviously, and it would take us forever to go through the data. So a lot of what we noticed was that we are getting new players to sign up, which is great, but the retention is not that good.
Okay.
So they come and, they do it for the one season or whatever, but then they don't come back.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I feel a lot of what's discussed in sport is recruitment. And our recruitment numbers are actually okay, but it's the retention numbers that are not ideal. So we'd really like to try to get that back. We're probably going to reach out to people that have played in the last 3 years, but haven't played in the most recent couple of leagues, maybe this summer league and this spring league type of thing. Be what's going on? Obviously, there's some inherent things you can't change. Some people move away. Some people start families, things like that. But there are other elements that we are trying to hone in on. Okay, what are we missing here? How can we get you to come back? What did you not love when you first were out here? Things like that. So the retention piece is big. And then more specifically, really, FMPs, female matching players, drive the mixed division.
Yeah.
And so if you can only let in as many MMPs, male matching players, as FMPs. So basically, if we want more teams in the mixed division, we need more FMPs.
Okay.
And so that's a demographic specifically that we're looking at recruiting and retaining better. So that we can increase our MMP numbers additionally, because we're kind of kicking people out to the open division because we don't have enough FMPs to support them in the mixed division. We don't play 5-2 anymore. 7 players on the field. I don't know what the ultimate knowledge of the audience is here, but we have 4 of one gender and 3 of the other gender on the field. So, mostly the teams have about equal numbers MMP, FMP. So if we want total numbers to increase, we need to start with the FMPs getting up.
Yeah.
So kind of a long-winded answer, but I would say retention and FMP numbers are the two big ideas that we're really like focusing on lately and hoping to drive participation that way.
I wasn't thinking retention. I was thinking like COVID hit and then they just didn't come back.
That's definitely part of it. Like the pandemic did not help.
No, definitely not.
We can get that out there.
No, it was not helpful at all.
It was not helpful at all. So we definitely are aware of that, and we recognize there's going to be probably like a good decade plus of like trying to come back from that. That was obviously a monumental worldwide event that was incredibly impactful in all areas, not just sports, everything. So that we are aware of, but we would love to just combat it as quickly and strongly as possible, as opposed to just like, let's just wait it out and see what happens, trying to be more active and like intentional about getting numbers back where we want them to be.
Wildman was on the show last, and he had like a similar question, and he brought up the point of like club players not playing league.
That too, yeah, that is
interesting.
That's an area as well. I mean, we could get into a number of demographics that are not where we want them to be, and club players is certainly one of them. We have 4 men's teams in Kansas City, and then 1 women's team, and then we don't technically have like a Kansas City specific mixed team anymore, but we have kind of just like casual, I don't know, surrounding Midwest. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Stuff gets put together.
Yeah.
But in general, it's like, of all of those, teams, the percentage that play leagues is definitely lower than we would prefer it to be. The thing that's hard is that when it comes down to it, club is people's priority, I mean, that's what they're going to expend the most time and energy on.
Yep.
So a league is always going to feel supplementary, and it's just not going to be their first choice. And we respect that and understand that. And obviously, like, just the toll on the body is something to consider too.
Yep.
So we want to be understanding of that, but we also want to be like, okay, but still, how can we kind of encourage you to sign up, and maybe you take a few weeks off here or there or something, and you're still participating instead of just ruling out the league completely.
Yeah.
So that's another fine line we're trying to walk.
Yeah, because there's just like a level of play that I notice, even with like pickup players, or like I'm playing Grandmasters this year.
Oh, nice.
Like headed to Minnesota this weekend.
Love it.
It's just there's like people really care and they want to quote unquote win, but really what they want is they want to play like good level Ultimate.
Yes.
And if that ceiling isn't involved, it's just like the level of Ultimate at League can be, mid.
Yes. Very true.
And it's like, because we're missing like the top level players that like can walk on this field and dominate.
Precisely. Yeah, that's also like a very difficult balance, because if it's too competitive, you're going to turn away the newer players.
Yeah, they're like, I can't even hang,
Yeah. And so that's definitely a fine line that we've tried to walk as well, because we want to be inclusive and we want everyone to feel like you've got a place here. It doesn't matter how much experience you have. It doesn't matter how good you are. Like you can get a couple touches. You can hang out. You can sweat like crazy, because that's what happens in summer league. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, the club players are slightly, I don't want to say disinterested, that's probably too strong, but a little bit uninterested in the concept of, like you said, mid-level Ultimate. It's like they're looking to play high level. That's where it's at. So how can we appeal to all parties involved is also a big struggle, and something that's difficult to deal with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I was hearing like, when I was playing Prairie Fire back in the day, it was, I think we had like 1 practice a week.
Yeah.
Maybe 2, but you weren't necessarily required to be at both of them. I don't remember all the details, but there was definitely still room for Summer League.
Totally.
And like we didn't have practice on Thursdays because we just assumed everybody was at Summer League. So you just don't even do it. But I'm hearing it's different now. Like they've got Tuesday practice, they've got Saturday practice.
Yeah.
So immediately you're like, well, yeah, it makes sense that now they also have to go Thursday. Like,
absolutely,
that is a massive commitment. Plus the 5 or 6 tournaments they're going to be playing. So like, it's very understandable. Mm-hmm. And to some degree, I guess it's like a nod to like, well, the level of ultimate is
Totally.
up there now.
Yeah.
That is causing this versus maybe back in the day, not that it wasn't, but
Yeah. No, there's as much good out of it as bad, you know? I mean, it's totally, like I said, it's just a matter of your priority. And you can summarize it in a completely positive, shining, optimistic way as much as you can summarize it in like a, dang, we're struggling, this is a bummer way. You know, it's like you can totally play either side. So just specifically from the board perspective, we want our league numbers up, you know? And so like that's our focus. But if I were looking at it from the lens of like a current club captain, I'd be like, that's just more chance to injure yourself. Like, how about we don't? And you like play all these practices instead, you know? So we're trying to, be supportive of all Kansas City Ultimate in every like level and manner that comes in. But at times they're just gonna be at odds. That's just the reality.
Yeah.
You know? So.
What if you truly understood your throw? Announcing the Nexus Throw Index. Built in partnership with TechDisc and backed by years of throw data, this system identifies your unique throw. And once you understand it, you unlock a clear roadmap for improvement and the blueprint to build your perfect bag. To learn more about this free-to-use tool or to become a certified thrower, visit nexusdiscgolf.com.
Well, backing up a little bit,
Yeah.
you started at KU, or did you play in high school at all?
I wouldn't say anything formal. I mean, you know, the big 20-on-20 pickup games, stuff like that. But so I did know about the sport, but yeah, I didn't really get into it until college.
Well, and what got you into it in college?
I would say the primary thing was honestly like I played a couple of like Lawrence fall leagues, you know, and stuff. And I just met some of the people from that. And eventually I was just like, you know, this sport is awesome. And I was no longer interested. I was a competitive volleyball player for all of high school and everything, like since I was a kid. And I did club volleyball at KU for like half a semester and just didn't quite vibe with the crew as much as I wanted to. So I was kind of looking for another athletic pursuit. And it just felt like the next logical step. So after a couple of those leagues, some of the Bettys and Zonals were like talking to me like, you got to come out, try a practice, you know, whatever. And then once I actually went to a practice, it took a bit of convincing, I'll admit that. But once I did actually come out, I literally did not miss another one until I graduated, like straight up. Yeah, I was hooked right from the get up, and it was just truly the best decision I've ever made was to join the Bettys, because it altered the landscape of my life for the rest, until now. Yeah. So without that, it's just brought me so much. So without that, I can't even imagine what my life would look like. So I'm just so thankful to have found the Bettys and Zonals. They're like my home community. You know, that's the place to start. So
how quickly did you, let me think about this question. Like you captained there.
Yeah.
You also like dual majored, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I remember being at K-State and, you know, we'd have these engineers that would be there and they would not go to sectionals because, well, I've got massive tests to study for. So I'm like, but this was the whole point of the season was to like go to sectionals and like try to get to regionals. And they're just like, yeah, but like, it's not more important than this. So I'm just curious, how did you eventually you became captain of the Bettys.
Yeah.
You're playing all the time. You're a dual major. You're obviously not skipping sectionals,
right.
regionals, like. But how do you, as someone in college or whatever, how do you balance all of that?
Yeah, that was it was not easy initially. This is like the most hilarious story. Christina Baker and I talk about it. Sometimes we kind of relive because I literally Facebook DM'd her and I was like, I do homework on the weekends. Like, how do you go to tournaments when there's homework to do? You know, literally. And I was just like a little baby unsure of time management and how to do it all. Yeah. And so she heckles me about that so much now, like 15 years later. It's just like, girl, what were you thinking? Yeah. But honestly, that is a concern. You know, I mean, it does feel real. You're like, how am I going to add in this whole other element when like school already feels like so much, you know? Yeah. Ultimately, it became just like a suck it up type mentality where it's like you might get a little less sleep, like you just got to do it though. You got to fit in everything into the hours of the day. My primary, I wouldn't say argument, but like my primary convincing factor on getting people to join the Bettys is like everyone has 24 hours in a day. So if you say you don't have time for the Betties, that's not really a fact. Like everyone has 24 hours, you don't make time for the Betties. Right. And so it became a large enough priority to me where I was just like, I'm just gonna make time for this, you know? And that once I did that, you know, that's just part of how kids learn, you know? Yeah. I mean, you have scheduling, like time management, those are real skills. And it took some curating, but eventually, you know, I got to a place where I was feeling comfortable with managing all of that. I'm also a very like multitask, do it all type person. Like I don't like to say no to things, and I try to do as much as I can, you know, throughout every hour of the day. I really like pack it in, high energy type person. So, it was a bit of an adjustment, but it was all so rewarding for me and like very energizing that it didn't feel like a chore or a task. It was like, no, of course I'm going to do this, you know? So it was great. Yeah.
Well, definitely your personality can do that for sure. But yes, like that is a good way to think about it. Like everyone has the same amount of time.
Absolutely.
I remember, I mean, I was an art major. So like I had big projects I had to work on or whatever.
Every
but you know,
matters, and it's like it's totally taxing either way. I do feel like people are always like, oh, well, you're just like you're only communications or you're only this. It's like college is college. I mean, it's difficult, and everyone's brain works differently. Yep. So it's like it's not inherent that like because you're an engineer, because you're like pre-med, or because you're an architect or whatever, like you can't do it. You know, again, it's just about prioritizing and deciding like this is cool enough. I'm gonna make it happen.
Oh yeah.
You know?
I remember being in the studio till like 3 a.m.
Yeah.
The final project due and stuff like that. You
That's
just have
real.
to kind of do it. You just have to be there. And I wasn't the only one in the studio. There's probably 3 or 4 other ones.
Absolutely.
Just trying to get it done.
Totally.
So,
we always try to sell it too. We're just like, we've had Betties that have majored in everything. Like you're not going to find a Betty that's never majored in that. You know, so it's like everybody can accommodate it. It's just a matter of making it a priority.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're on the Betties.
Yeah.
You're playing. You're loving it. At one point, where were you? And this is sort of like a boastful question, but it's like at some point you had to have realized, okay, I'm like sort of at the top level of this team. Sort of, I feel like maybe even elite player. When did that kind of strike you? And then also, was that like now I need to go play club beyond the Betties? Yeah. I need to go to these higher levels because I know that I can. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense.
Totally. That, it's not necessarily like a clear incident in my mind, but I do feel like I just had a lot of encouragement all around me to keep leveling up. Lauren Schieber was the coach of the Betties all 5 years that I played. He was the officiant at my wedding. He's like an all-time mentor and friend for me. And honestly, the entire Schieber family is like incredibly impactful in all of Kansas Ultimate. Yeah. But regardless, Lauren specifically was always kind of just, you know, asking more of me. And, you know, he taught me so much about like what it is to be a leader and a player that through his guidance, I think I sort of realized what all of those next steps might look like. I played club, for the first time right after my first year on the Betties. And then from there, it was really just like the floodgates opened. I just wanted to play as much as I could. And in terms of getting to that next level, the most distinct element I can think of is U24, which you kind of touched on in the intro. When I don't even remember specifically what encouraged me to try out. I just assume it was Lauren to apply. Actually, you have to apply to try out. So I just assume it was Lauren being like, U24 applications are open, you need to apply. And then I did, and then it just kind of like, then I got a tryout, then I went to the tryout, then I played well, then I got an offer to be on the team, then I went to London, you know, and then it's just from there, it's just like I said, the floodgates opened and the next step just kind of happened, you know? I mean, I just kept with my work ethic, kept with my like time management, you know, team, like just every element of Ultimate that I was already doing. And then eventually I was like, had this gold medal and I was like, okay, I guess we're here now. Like, you know, I mean, I really don't have any like specific memories of like, these were particular things I did. I felt like I was just doing the little stuff day to day. And I was really fortunate to be surrounded by other high quality players that could challenge me. And like I said, like mentors and leaders that kept pushing me. And then eventually it was there. So I feel like U24 was really that elite player turning point that you kind of mentioned.
Yeah.
But in terms of the steps to get there, don't necessarily have any like concrete memories that stand out. But
bit of a motion blur there.
yeah, exactly. It really was, because Ultimate was just like, it was still so new to me. You know, I only made U24 November of my third year on the team. So pretty early into my third competitive year, you know? So I didn't even necessarily understand the full landscape of it all yet, you know, and especially with U24 now, these kids know, the kids on the team now have been playing since high school or earlier. You know, like that's just the reality that we live in now. And it wasn't the case, you know, when I was doing it. So I was still very just like, baby giraffe fish kind of, you know, with like, what am I doing here?
Like, this way.
And they're like, no, shoot, let me make sure to go this way now, over here. And so, I just can only be thankful to like the mentors and leaders and community around me that just encouraged me to go do all that. Cause then it did become a turning point that was just like, all right, we're into that next level now, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So gold medalist in U24, but also champion in PUL.
Yeah.
Which one, does any one of those play a bit more of a monumental moment for you?
Yeah, so winning, I won the U24 gold medal in 2015, and then I won now the PUL championship in 2025. So 10 years in between. Obviously, my understanding and my love for the sport changed throughout that. You know, that's just inherent.
It's a decade.
Yeah, exactly. It's a long time. So I would say just from a kind of like a caliber standpoint, U24 still feels more monumental. I mean, it's a worldwide, you know, medal. So it's like it was really the best of the best. And I'm absolutely so proud of the DC Shadow Championship as well. Like that team was remarkable and everyone contributed. We played to the depth of our roster. Like that was huge. But just inherently the PUL is smaller. And so it just doesn't quite feel like as, you know, top of the world, maybe as U24 did. Yeah. And I think also I understood a little bit more about just like caliber of play and you know, strategy, just my whole, obviously, like IQ of Ultimate is way different in 2025 than 2015. So I think it just, to me, felt more of like, this is just the expectation, this is what we do, you know? And in 2015, it just felt so novice and like, what just happened? You know, it was like almost like a shock moment as opposed to like, no, we can really, in 2025, like we can do this, we're gonna win. Like the whole season was built around a championship, you know? So I guess the writing on the wall was a little bit more obvious in that sense. So but incredibly thankful and like honestly proud of each one, you know, for different reasons. But kind of that shock value of just the first couple years of my Ultimate career, getting that one probably stands out a little more. Yeah.
You touched right there a little bit about like U24 is a whole nother culture. It's worldwide versus PUL was like the whole season or prior to it was we are designing, strategizing how we're going to win the championship. But you also play, you know, Wicked here in Kansas City, co-founded that. You play Summer League.
Yeah.
You've played in multiple cities across the U.S. Can you touch just a little bit about, I don't know, almost like just cultural differences between all the different types of Ultimate? And just, well, I have a huge friend base in Kansas City. Then I go play for DC Shadow. Yeah. Just what is that like to sit there and jump around into different pools of types of Ultimate?
Totally. Yeah. I do feel like I honestly play about every form of Ultimate that you can. And I'm close to as involved as you can be. I just have I have so much passion for the sport that it just kind of, my life just ended up going that way. And I also do have the energy for it. Like I've said, like this is who I am. I'm an extrovert. I get energy from other people. I get energy from communities. So my pursuit of that is like selfish in a way, it's like, this is what fuels me. And so when I eventually started like, branching out and playing for other communities, I was just like, this is just going to give me like more to work with, I mean, it's just going to give me like a wider understanding of like strategy and types of ultimate and like success and ways to do things well. It's going to give me more like social capital. It's going to give me more connections, more networking capabilities, more, like all of that. And so everything from that I gained from each community was like, fully beneficial. To me, it never felt more recently, I guess I have felt a little bit of burnout, but to me, it never felt like a chore or taxing. It was just like, this is good for me. And this is like what I want out of it for my career and things like that. So I would say in general, there are some cultural differences in each city, but for the most part, I'm kind of like a get along with everyone type of person. So I never really felt like a major, outsider, like a really stark contrast or like I really miss home or anything like that. I was still so involved with the Kansas City community throughout all of that I didn't ever feel like I was like switching or like, oh, now I miss this, now I miss this. It was always just like
happening at once.
Exactly, yeah. And it was all just lovely. Like it was just, I'm being present and enjoying this moment. I'm being present and enjoying this community. I'm being present and enjoying this team, as opposed to feeling like I'm struggling here. I really wish I could be over here instead. It was just the intentionality of trying to just lean in to each one was luckily at the forefront of my mind all the time. So I wouldn't say I had any issues like fitting in or feeling like a seamless connection to them. So really thankful for that. And again, for the communities that were just there, ultimate. I mean, it's so welcoming. It's really just like, come on in, we got you kind of thing. So I never felt like, I didn't fit in or an outsider or any of that. So there are differences in like, styles of play, but in general, it's like, we're all ultimate players and we love this and like, we're going to work hard to be as good as we can. And that's what I found from all communities. Yeah.
Now fill me in, were you like a leader on the DC Shadow and a leader on the U24, or have you always been sort of like leading those teams?
Yeah, I would say leading is like my innate self. Like definitely more of like a leader than a follower. I definitely like pursue, leadership roles and things like that. I would say, like my second year on the Betties, I captained. And my second year on the Betties, then I co-founded Wicked and captained that. So I kind of dove into leadership like very early. Right away, exactly. Yeah. So captaining was kind of just like, this is what I do, And so just like that kind of became it. And I captained, Betty and Wicked all the way until I graduated and then took a year off, but then jumped back in, So I would say leadership is, inherent to who I am. In terms of the other teams, I have been spirit captain on a lot of those other teams. I have never captained a team that I travel play for. Okay. Only spirit captain. And just like, I don't know how much people know, but like ultimate is a self-officiated sport, obviously, as you know. So spirit of the game is the concept of being able to put winning not as the top priority and have sportspersonship as the top priority, and then winning, very second to that. Not sacrificing caliber of play or sportspersonship in favor of the other. They need to like align and, drive the other one in a sense. So spirit captains exist to uphold those pillars. So that's what I have done on a good portion of the teams that I've been on, including U24. I was voted as the female spirit captain. So that's an awesome element of the sport. And it's not as like time demanding, I would say, as being a captain, but it still has important elements that require a lot of intentionality and focus. And I think it's great that the sport has it.
Yeah, for sure. I think I was asking that because I was wondering if you could talk to the difference between when you're like a leader on a team, what does that look like versus I've made the team and like my role, like, because I think there's players who come from a college that they were sort of the leader, then they make a team, but they're not the captain.
Yeah.
And just kind of speaking to what's the difference between and what are those roles look like?
Totally. I would say like I never wanted to like rock the boat too much when I was jumping into these travel play teams. Like I was totally going to actually not be the best player and not be the one that harbors all the responsibility and like shoulders all the weight of the success and the failure and everything. So I was going to just like kind of fall in line and be like maybe a middle of the pack type player and like be a follower and just allow that to give me, again, like more tools in my toolkit and like expand out my experiences even more. So I didn't want to be necessarily like a leader right away, because I think there are important elements of each, you know? I mean, it's like leadership teaches you, you know, if you lead while you play, that teaches you a whole skill set different than if you don't lead, you know? I mean, it's like there's important elements to each. You can't have a team full of leaders. You can't have a team full of followers. No. They all play important roles, you know? And so when I went to branch out and play for these other cities, it was to experience, well, a wide variety of things, but part of that was to experience not leading, you know, and just being like, okay, I'm gonna do what's asked of me, and I'm going to, you know, not be super involved in all of the decision making and everything, and just kind of ride the wave. And that is an exceptional way to play as well. It's really, again, just a matter of like what you desire. Mm-hmm. So for me, I always wanted a little bit of everything. Like I play mixed, I play women's, I play Ultimate, I play Masters, I play League, you know, I lead, I don't lead. Like all of that is just what like fuels my entire like well-rounded career, you know? And having a well-rounded career was always a big goal of mine, and I'm thankful and proud of myself for being able to achieve that, because the versatility is a challenge in and of itself, you know? I didn't want to get into like a rut of just like, okay, I lead, like I captain this team, I'm the best player on it, and then we just like go all the way, and then I'm gonna retire like that. You know, it's like, that's part of just like branching out, was doing other things. So not leading was a way to do that. And I was intentional about trying to achieve that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did that feel to not do that?
It was really honestly not like a problem. I think all of it is so much like about expectations, that I knew I was going into these other teams specifically for that reason. Right. And so it was easy to wrap my head around it. Like, I also just feel like this is true of all sport. Like, I feel even in every area of life, there's always going to be someone better than you. Like, sure. I'm just not someone that's going to be the best in the world at anything. And so in a way, that's kind of just allows you to be open-minded to following and you know, being guided by other people. Like, It's great. So I never felt like, wow, there's this massive void. It would be better if I were leading it. I'm jaded now because I don't trust this leadership. You know, like that never was the case for me. I mean, everyone that I experienced in leadership had something to offer and brought a lot to the table. I maybe didn't agree with everything that they did or every way they went about every circumstance, but that's part of challenging yourself too, is recognizing that you don't always have the control and you have to relinquish it at times or you'll drive yourself crazy, you know? So, again, from my I try to be self-aware and manage my expectations accordingly. And when I was doing that, then I was still able to just find pure enjoyment out of it all.
Yeah. As
you kind of ride the wave of a couple frustrating moments here or there or whatever. But that's just part of being an athlete, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you're really good at being, this is the hat I'm wearing right now.
Yeah.
And then this is the hat I'm wearing right now. And then just being okay with it.
Totally.
Which I think can be tough for people, for sure.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I don't mean to preach I'm perfect at it, because there's definitely times where I'm this is my hat now, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, I let you try.
Yeah, so, but it's definitely always just a matter of trying to be at peace with what's going on and, influence it where I can, but not try to take over, so all of that is just part of what you learn throughout leadership and being a teammate and, all of those elements that teach you just how to interact with other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was it, 2024? I think you wrote about a tryout process.
Oh, yeah, that sounds right.
What do you think is sort of like there's a lot of people out there like wanting to make club teams, and there's a lot of people on club teams that like want to make nationals, but are there a few or just one or two sort of misunderstandings of like what it really takes to make it on an elite team, or even to make it to an elite level tournament like nationals or championship? Like, what is that really? Because you talked about that we strategize around winning the championship.
Of course, yeah.
Like, what are maybe some misunderstandings of like what it really takes to be at that level?
I do think there are some misunderstandings. I think the primary thing for me, and like always what I've like hung my hat on, is like my work ethic. I think that's a massive, massive driver for my success and my ability to like have played at an elite level. I think some people think they have a good work ethic, but again, if you don't branch out and look, nationwide or worldwide, you're kind of in your little bubble where you think, oh yeah, I have a good work ethic for this community, or I have a good work ethic based on this team. And that's part of what branching out allowed me to see, is like, okay, these are the areas where I'm lacking and where I need to like push further to get myself to the next level. So I do think there's like a work ethic misunderstanding. I think a lot of people think, that things just fall in line. Like, oh yeah, we got 6th at regionals, and then we got 3rd at regionals, and then we make nationals. And it's like, that's just not always how it goes. It's not linear like that. There's always so many factors and elements that are determining, anything, making nationals, making an elite team, like all of that stair-step process is not just like one track mind, I mean, it's like you have to have just a lot of there's just a lot of elements at play. So work ethic is a primary one for me. And then additionally, I would say like IQ and understanding is a huge one. I think a lot of times we think, oh yeah, like I'm the best athlete on the team, that's going to get me where I need to go. But you need more than athleticism, and like even like, let's say throwing, I'm the best thrower on the team. Like just always having a perspective of like this one skill is going to get me where I need to go. I feel like that's kind of been a theme unintentionally, honestly, throughout this conversation, is just like the well-roundedness,
Yeah.
So along with that, I think like IQ is developed outside of just, you practicing. It's like you need to watch. You need to like look at other Frisbee. You need to ask other people for their perspective. You need to have conversations about strategy and style of play and offense and defense, and all of that informs and allows you to like level up in a new way.
Yep.
So I think additionally, some people just get a little cooped up and thinking like, oh yeah, for where I'm at right now, I'm great. And it's like, you have to be unsatisfied with that at some point and pursue the next level, and that's really what like kind of breaks open the ceiling.
And what that is for you is going to be different from other people, right? You talked about best athlete on the team, can sky anybody, but doesn't know how to get open for a dump swing.
Exactly. Literally.
Like,
yeah,
so,
that matters. And to each their own. Everyone can pursue ultimate in the way that they want to pursue it, any sport, obviously. For me, well-roundedness is a huge element of it. And I have always said, like, as a player, I've always described myself as kind of like a jack of all trades, master of none. Like, I really don't think I'm exceptional at any particular skill, but I'm on like the right side of the bell curve at every skill. And so, and not even just skills, but like that includes all the intangibles and everything too, just like in terms of like interpersonal skills, coachability, like, just everything that comes along with being an athlete. There's more than just like, what can you do on the field in this scenario, So, those are some of like the bigger misunderstandings that I feel about what people believe it takes to get to the next level versus what I maybe believe it takes.
Right.
Yeah. So
that's really good. Yeah. Because it is, obviously it's a team sport. I'm sure all team sports are like this, but it still comes down to individual levels. Like,
of course,
it's all got to come together as we like to call it, chemistry and stuff like that. Which
totally.
Chemistry is great, but at the same time, like if the individual skills of the players aren't increasing over the years, you're not going anywhere.
Totally agreed. Yeah, and that is a huge element of it. And I don't mean to downplay it and say like individual skills don't, like if you're the best athlete, it's not worth anything. Like, that still matters, obviously. Like, let's call a spade a spade. Like, we're playing a sport and we want people to be good at it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, straight up, that does matter. And there are tons, and I would actually say like Ultimate is getting a little bit more like role based, you know? I mean, if you think about someone like a Jeff Babbitt, you know, is like massively successful in the UFA because he has like kind of one elite skill. He's just a freak athlete. And that's provided him with a lot of success. Like, he's great on buzzer beaters. He's great in the air, super fast, high goal scoring machine. It's like, that's a skill and that exists. And especially this was a distinction that I didn't mention when we were talking about like kind of the different levels of play. In semi-pro, you can sub on timeouts. So you can call a timeout. Your team has just gotten a D.
Right.
You can put your defense back on the sideline. You can put your O-line on.
Right.
That is a way to like hone in on roles that doesn't exist at the club or college level, because you can't do that. Your D-line needs to be able to convert.
Right.
Like, and obviously in semi-pro, that doesn't happen all the time. You don't get unlimited timeouts, so it's not like every time. But it is like moving in that direction, I feel like, you know, as opposed to, in general, I would say Ultimate is one of the more well-rounded sports where it's like kind of everyone has to be able to do everything, you know? It's different than like, for example, like football is like the most, I feel like, role-based sport, you know? I mean, there's, I don't even know, probably 15 different positions. Like, you know, almost nobody at the highest level plays both ways. There's like one player that does, right, or something. I don't know, but either way,
I think you're right.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying, is that it's just like Ultimate is where is a sport where inherently you kind of have to do a little bit of everything, but you can start to like sort of see the writing on the wall where it's like we're moving away from that a little bit and we're getting more role specific outside of just, oh, I typically play offense, I typically play defense. Now it's like even more of that, you know, it's like your O-line might not have to play any defense, your D-line might not have to play any offense, you know? So it's interesting to think about that and just like the development of our sport long term.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's a good point for sure. So you're known for teaching people how to lay out, which is obviously pretty crucial when you're playing Ultimate, at least at a certain level, like you need to be able to lay out. I remember when I was in college, it was one of the first or second times I even went out there to play with the club team. And Chris Colby, somebody threw a swing or something to the end zone, and I just kind of ran it out, but I didn't lay out. Okay. And he was just like, you got to get horizontal on that, man. Like, totally Chris Culberson way. And I was just like, get horizontal on that. Like, and that you got to lay out.
Did you catch it?
I didn't know, because I just ran it out. I didn't even try, you know? I was like, oh, it's out of my reach. I couldn't get it. And they're like, no, you have to lay out. And I was just like, wait, what? Like, and that sort of changed everything. And then I sort of became a layout machine. Like,
there you go.
You know, the gratuitous guy.
To
some degree, until like,
I'll never be told to lay out again.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I'm going all out. And then I sort of became known as the guy who's like, well, he's just going to keep going and he's going to lay out and he's going to be 5 feet short.
Yeah.
But at least he's giving exactly. But what do you think is one of the hardest things for people to sort of grasp when it comes to laying out?
Yeah, I appreciate that, like, nomenclature. I don't know if I'm known for laying out. I do have a video on YouTube with a fair number of views on how to lay out. It was at a Midwest Throwdown. You remember that tournament? So it was at a Midwest Throwdown clinic, basically. And it was after we had done kind of like a broader skill set chat, and then at the end someone was like, you know, what about laying out? And then it just like happened to, I don't even know who the filmer was, but it just happened to get filmed and get put on YouTube. And then it was like, yeah, people were hitting me up about it and all that, and now it's like you found it and all that. So I will say, like, so again, I grew up like with volleyball, right? There are like a ton of dives in volleyball.
Yeah,
and so that definitely helped, like, in terms of being, some people call it like kind of trigger shy or whatever. It's like, oh, they don't know how to pull the trigger yet. Like, I definitely never had that issue just from my upbringing in sport, but the way that you dive in volleyball is very different than the way that you lay out in Ultimate. So I actually had like a very big learning curve. Exactly. Where it was like, because in volleyball, you really go like, you wear knee pads, so you go like knees first a lot of the time, and you try to land on like kind of like the fleshy part of your butt and stuff like that. And then you like roll to stand up quickly so that if it comes right back, it's like volleyball is a super fast paced game, and not that ultimate isn't, but like, yeah, you don't even have a moment to react a lot of times. So that is kind of like the primary elements of volleyball. And then with ultimate, it's like, you're always going to be going forward, because that's, I guess maybe some lateral or like, the disc is thrown behind me, something like that. But in general, you're trying to expand your box. You're trying to like reach things that you can't reach. And the field is so much bigger. You get up to a top speed so much more than you do in volleyball, that it's like, you're going to be laying out when you're running your fastest, as opposed to like in volleyball, it's like, the hit comes right here, I have to just go. You know what I mean? And so it's different than like, I'm sprinting and now I have to lay out for it, So there's a lot more safety elements involved, plus you're not wearing knee pads. And so, so it's like more layout on like land flat, like on your chest type of thing. Kind of have like, not your knees be the first thing, because that'd be just like, we call it a knee bomb, you just like bomb right into the ground. It's like, that's the face. It's the face everyone makes when that happens, So just like, you want it to be like flat and smooth, and then you just kind of like burpee yourself back up, basically. So I would say a lot of the primary thing that people seem to have a hard time with is like pulling that trigger, I would say, where it's just like the fear of just like, am I just launching myself at the ground here? Like, I'm not comfortable with that. That does go against a lot of our like human nature, that just doesn't feel safe. And then outside of that, I would say it's just, once you learn the form in a way that's safe and doesn't hurt, then you just have to like go for it. So that's kind of what my video shows, is like ways to work up to a full speed layout in a way that gives your body and your mind confidence that you're going to be able to do it safely. Yeah.
I played a ton of baseball, so my laying out is more like sliding into second and you're stealing a base. So I'm always just like leaning forward until the point where like it's a little bit of a jump, but I've never been the guy who's like laying out above waist high. I see that happen. I'm like, good for you.
No, for sure.
I don't think
agree.
I'm ever doing that.
It's intense. And that's the thing about laying out, is that there are even, I would say, like, there are some pretty elite level players that still kind of don't. Like, I think it is just like anything. It's going to expand your box. It's going to allow you to get more Ds and to make bigger catches and, to have possession saving grabs and things like that. You're just going to be, just like with anything, if you don't have it, you might be a little bit worse. But it's not necessarily like inherent to success, but it will unlock a new level if you are able to do it. One of my like least favorite phrases is like, oh, she's so fast she doesn't need to lay out. And it's like, everybody has a disc that's too far for them. Like I could outthrow Usain Bolt like that. Maybe not me, but somebody could probably, I mean, it's just like, the concept is like, you just throw it low and far enough, they're physically not going to be able to get there. So in theory, it's like anything that is like a little bit higher or a little bit closer, they could get to. And it just might require a layout, So I believe that it unlocks a new level of, like I said, like your catching box or your D'ing box, if you're willing to do it. But some people are just like, I never learned safely, or like it doesn't make me feel comfortable or whatever. And that's their prerogative, of course. And I will say, like, I'm a little bit, bummed is probably too strong of a word, but like I get a little frustrated with myself. I've lost a little bit of my trigger, honestly. I think just like as I've gotten older, it's just a little bit like, I'd rather
risk
not.
Reward.
Yeah, literally. And I do think that is pretty common. I would say there are a lot of players that do start to pull up more and more as they get older.
Do you think that happens, obviously, like in summer league, I think it's like for sure. People are like, no 50-50s and I'm not laying out. But
Totally.
if you're still playing club at a decently high level, like even though I'm playing Grandmasters regionals, I feel like if a layout opportunity's there, like I'm gonna take it.
Yeah, totally. It's absolutely like that innate competitiveness and that innate drive to just be like, this is not hitting the ground.
This is the moment
where
you do it.
it can.
Not even thinking twice about it.
Oh yeah, 100%. I hope that happens for you. And I mean, honestly, it's sick because like I've never. I would say. I can't think of a time when I've regretted a layout, honestly. I mean, because it's just like, it's always dope if you catch it or if you get the D. And even if it hurts a little bit, it's totally worth it. And even if you don't get it, you're like, I don't know, just that's for me, like, you're putting your body, like, you're maxing out effort. That is like, it gives you so many like endorphins and adrenaline. You're just like, I just like push my body to the absolute limit, you know? And I've never been like actively injured on a layout, which I know that is, And I know that does turn some people away. Like if you bid and you land wrong because you're tired and then you like dislocate your shoulder or like you get like, I don't know, bursitis in your knee because you blasted right on, or you tweak your PCL or, you know, something like that. I've never had that, so that would probably turn me off it even more. Yeah. And I totally respect if, you know, that's a reason why somebody doesn't lay out, absolutely, because that just leads to inherently more fear. But I would, hope that there's enough like education about good form and everything out there that those are few and far between, because in general you can lay out safely, and for the most part, unless like you said you're doing those chest high ones or whatever, just hitting the ground like that should probably not be too detrimental. And worth it for the sick play. You know,
I've definitely always viewed it as a peer pressure moment, especially with my like intro to laying out, the guy yelling at the sideline. I'm like, a lot of times I'm like running really hard. I'm like, damn it, I have to lay out on this. Like, why, you know? A lot of it's times, always worth it.
No, it is. And a lot of times you don't want to, and then you're just like, oh, okay, fine, I'll do it.
But when you do it, like the team's got you.
Oh no, absolutely.
You know? The backup from the team from the sideline is all worth it.
Totally agreed. Yeah.
So it's not an individual thing when you do it.
No, absolutely. I mean, you're doing it to help the team out.
Even the other team is like, so sick, good job. Like you might even get a high five, you know? So.
I totally agree. Yeah, that's one of the best parts about, spirit of the game, especially in something like a summer league or whatever. The other team's definitely going to compliment you, you know, even if like at the elite level, maybe they're a little bitter, but you still see high fives for dope plays too, which is like an awesome part of our sport, I think.
Yes, for sure. So the KCU board is all volunteer?
All volunteer.
Yeah. So what is that? I mean, just talk us through, you know, getting volunteers to help out. Wildman actually touched on this a bit. There's a lot of people now that want to volunteer, but you're pretty stacked right now. But what does that all look like as far as getting volunteers? They have certain roles. What are they doing? How much time commitment do they do? It's volunteer.
Totally. All of that. Yeah, it's a huge, honestly, it's pretty awesome. I mean, it was developed like way, way, way back when KCU got established as a nonprofit. And that initial board kind of like, let's see, like Valley, Renshaw, like Aaron Schieber, Dennis Dunmeyer, like those were kind of all the OGs, and they developed like bylaws and structure and organization, and like, this is how we're going to run things. And then from there, you know, it's like morphed into new stuff, and it's like we have new policies and new practices and all of that. And that's just kind of how volunteer-led things go. You know, it's just like, okay, we want to change this. Great, you have the prerogative to do that. There's like not an inherent set of rules, you know, maybe as strict as it would be on like a corporation level or something like that. So I've been on the board since 2017. My husband, Brett Hidaka, and I joined, and we just started as regular board members. And then I became the VP of Events, which is like my favorite title. I love to say Clare Frantz VP of Events, but and I did that for several years. And then I got nominated for president, which is the role that I hold now. And I'm in I think my third year of it. Maybe my fourth, I can't remember. Either way, it's, so the main elements that we have are a president, a treasurer, and a secretary. Those are the required roles.
Yep.
And then everything else is just a volunteer, and we do call them VPs because we want to have some structure of like, these are the areas that we care about running. So we have like a VP of youth, we have a VP of initiatives, we have VP of events, we have VP of competition. We actually have two VPs of competition because that's league, which is 80% of what we do probably, you know? So like we have two of those. We have VP of communications. They run like our marketing and our social media and our email listserv and all of that type of stuff. So that structure was developed when Jordan Warren was president, or maybe when Erin Schieber was president and she was helping out. But that kind of helped like have a little bit more just like structure of like, these are the things we want to make sure are getting accomplished. And yeah, so then we have an annual board meeting every year, and anybody that's interested in being on the board, we invite them to attend that. How you find out about the board is literally just word of mouth. Like, we just tell people like, our board meeting's coming up. If you're interested, come join, like it's an open public meeting. Anyone that's interested can come. And then after that, we do end up having elections for each of those positions. So we start with the president, treasurer, secretary, since those are the required ones. And then we do elections for all of those VP roles too. And at the end, we do have we have actually a range. I'd have to look specifically at our bylaws, but I think it's like 4 to 8 is the range of just a community member volunteer. So they can still be on the board. They don't have a title, but they're welcome to be in like our Slack and just help out wherever they want. So they don't have a specific area that they're focused on, but they just kind of fill in the gaps. Though everyone has an like equal importance in my mind, because even though we have those titles, even though I am, the president or we have our VP of youth or whatever, everyone helps with everything.
Yeah.
That's just how the board runs most effectively. And also we're all just like, we're just friends, it's like Wildman's on the board. I've known him for like a decade, and it's just like, if I need something done, I might hit him up. He might hit me up. Like we don't, if it's something youth specific, I might be like, hey, Matt Babor, like this needs to get done. But other people might jump in and be like, I can help you with that. I can help you with that. I can help you with that. So it's really just like crowdsourcing in terms of just making sure that all of the tasks on our yearly task list get accomplished. And it's honestly like exceptional camaraderie. I'm really so pleased with where the board is at right now. No one is trying to like skirt by and do nothing. No one is like steamrolling and over controlling. Everyone is just like in it to help as much as possible. And it's a really great crew where there's no like, just like problem areas. I mean, it really just runs like a well-oiled machine. And I'm just so thankful for all my board members because they make my life so much easier. I honestly feel like I probably don't even do the most in terms of like being on the board. You would think like, I don't know, maybe I am just a figurehead, but like the president in general, I feel like some people think, oh, they probably have the most responsibility. But I would say I just like make sure stuff is going well. But all of our constituents are so sick at what they do that it's like, it's not even work for me. Like stuff just gets done, So I do check in and I do delegate and I do make sure we're on top of things and I do schedule meetings for checkups and all of that kind of stuff. But for the most part, when you have a group of people that just do what they're told or even don't have to be told to do what they're supposed to do, it just runs by itself, So super thankful for an awesome KC community. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and we really try to not turn anyone away. We've never had such a large excess of interest that we have to turn people away and say, sorry, we just don't have a spot for you. Because in general, if you want to help, we want to accommodate that. We can find something for you to do. Exactly. The extreme example, slippery slope, would be like if you have a board of like 50 people, that's just like, there's not going to be enough work to go around.
Yeah.
And there is like a small status with the board that I would like to upkeep. Like I do want it to be kind of like a coveted position as opposed to just like anyone can do it whenever you want. It's like we want good workers. So if I just start handing it out to everyone, then it's like you're going to decrease the caliber of work that goes on. And I don't want to like diminish the pool in that sense. So I'd like to keep it as, high quality as possible. And so luckily we've never encountered a situation where it's like, 50 people are interested or whatever, but there are some policies in place about how to deal with that should it happen. Yeah.
Is there anything that's sort of like, hey, heads up, if you're going to be like the president of a board for Ultimate Frisbee, this is like a continuous topic or thing that kind of happens?
Yeah, I think there's just like any leadership position, there are like natural traits or like kind of, non-negotiables in terms of like things you need to be decent at. So it's not for everyone. That is not what I'm trying to market the board as. Like everyone can do it. It does take certain traits that, you need certain skills. So
I was looking through all the directors and I'm like, the name with the title, I was like, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. You know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah. It definitely aligns. And like we try to put people into an area that they're passionate about. So it's like, if you don't care about league, we won't put you as VP of competition. You know, it's like there are a lot of elements to get involved with, and we try to accommodate that as best we can. But yeah, for the most part, I mean, this is how all LDOs run. So, at the USAU level, USA Ultimate level, they call them LDOs, local disc organizations, and they recognize that's an area of USA Ultimate. It's like, it's not at headquarters, obviously, and they're not paid positions, but they recognize that this is like, at the grassroots level, these organizations do a ton for the sport, and USAU recognizes that. So basically, for all LDOs, most of them are volunteer run. There are a couple, like in the big, like Triangle Ultimate, you know, and like the large, like Seattle, you know, like the coast, the larger Ultimate hubs where they might have an executive director that's a full-time paid position. But that is by far the minority. For the most part, it's all volunteer based. And so, and even under those EDs or those, you know, those paid positions, they have a ton of volunteers, you know? Yeah. So it's like every organization has volunteers within them. But yeah, basically it's not really any different than leading any other organization. You know, I mean, it's like I happen to be, I believe, qualified for it because I know a ton about Ultimate. I have a ton of experience in Ultimate, and I have some of those more like quintessential leadership traits like organization, interpersonal skills, timeliness, passion, you know,
extrovert, energy,
all of that. Yeah, exactly. That really matters. Yeah. And so those are the things that I feel like make me qualified for the position, but it could be totally different for somebody else. You know, somebody else might bring things to the table that I don't have, and that's great too. This is just where we're at right now. You know, I ran unopposed in the last time. So it's like, in general, we do kind of get to a place where it's like, okay, yeah, you kind of fit here, you kind of fit here, you kind of fit here. Yeah. And then there's never any like, you know, intense like voting process where it's like, oh, they beat this person by one vote and now they're out. It's like,
no one's putting in yard signs.
Not at all. Yeah. I mean, it's really like I said, we're just all friends. Yeah. And so like, I think literally any time that we've had two people nominated for the same position, one of them just like, you'd be better at that, I'm out. And they just like back out.
There you go.
And so, yeah, I mean, it takes a certain, like a little bit of a self-awareness level too, you know? And so we all just want what's best for the community. And that's, I would say, what was like definitely the number one trait that you need is like, you got to put the community first. Yeah. If you're doing it for selfish reasons, probably not for you. Not maybe, you know, we could make that work. But in general, it's like you're looking out for the community, and that's what we're trying to have the best possible environment for. Mm-hmm. And that's what everyone is on the same page about. So.
Love it.
Yeah, it's been great.
Well, talking about the community, and you know, we're in this world of Ultimate Frisbee, would love to grow. Like, do you have anything you would say to our Ultimate community, everyone that's in league, everyone that's playing on club teams? Like, I don't know, is there just some sort of encouragement or something that they could do to like help grow the sport, get it stronger again? Like, what's that one or two things that they could do?
Yeah, I think in general, I would tell everyone, if you have unreached, like untapped capacity, go and find something to do. Mm. There are so many areas of Ultimate that need support and help. Like, don't just sit and be passive if you feel like you have capacity to give. If you have capacity to give. You know, there's coaching needs, there's volunteer needs, there's organizing needs, there's playing needs, there's all types of needs. And so even if you maybe don't feel like you have the capacity right now, try to spread the word, you know, just like get it out there. And if you hear someone like have a complaint about league, it's like, oh, you know, you could talk to the board about that. Like just be encouraging about ways, you know, not even ways specifically, but just be encouraging about the concept of giving and volunteering and like helping, supporting, all of that, you know? And it can even be literally as little as like on the sideline at league, you hear someone, maybe you don't even hear them, you see body language of lack of enjoyment, go talk to them. You know, like just help us out. Because like in general, captains, you know, even like league captains, it's an 18-person team or something. They might not be able to connect with everybody every week. So it's like, do just that little thing and just be like, what's up? Are you not having that much fun? Like, how can I support you? How can I help you? You want to toss over here? You want to play the next point together? You want to, you know, like honestly, something as extreme as like, get together, you know, like, do you want to vent? Do you want, you know, and it's like a brand new player to league might not respond to that, but at least you've put out the initiative, you've done your part to like, just like contribute to the sport as a whole. So I do hope that people feel that and are willing to do it. I also know on the flip side of things, people are maxed out on capacity as well. There's tons of people that are like I said, I've had a little bit of burnout in the last year or so. Mine has mostly been travel based because I've been travel playing so much. That's kind of where my burnout has come from. But I've been burnt out from an organizational like helping perspective as well. So I totally understand that too. And on that same level, if you're burnt out, don't just quit. Like try to just ask for help. You know, figure out ways where you can delegate. Go to your like closest cohorts and be like, I'm kind of struggling right now. Can you guys help me with those things? And that's part of what I believe the benefit of like just the Ultimate community in general is, like I said, we're just so welcoming that it's like we want to help each other out. You know, like not a lot of assholes in Ultimate in general. Like people are good people. It's like if I always say like if I moved to a new city, I would have an immediate community. I'm just gonna go find the Ultimate players. You know, and that's like such a peaceful like and calming feeling to just be like this community, like you said, like we got you. You know, like everyone just supports each other. So if you're, like I said, on the flip side and you're maxed out, you're burnt out, it's like just ask for help. Find ways where you can delegate. Find ways where people can help you out, and you'll be able to find someone that's willing to do it. So if you can just kind of like spread the good word on both ends of the spectrum and everywhere in between, I think that'd be good for us. That's what I try to do with KCU, and I think what the board tries to do too. So yeah.
Dang, well said.
Thank you. Yeah, it's like hopefully people find some inspiration from that or something.
I think so, for sure. Like, yeah, that was awesome.
Thanks.
Well, thanks for coming on. This was awesome. I'm glad you said yes.
Yes.
You know, sometimes I reach out and I'm like, I'm not sure if they'd want to do this or not.
Totally.
You were totally willing right away, and that's amazing. So thank you.
Thanks, Brendan. Yeah, when you said it, I was like not sure about the podcast thing, and I was just like, I'm kind of a yapper, and you're like, it'd be problematic if you weren't. I was like, this is my spot, baby. Okay, we're here.
Yeah, if I had to like pull things out of you, which I've had like one or two guests maybe like that, then I'm like, yeah, but can you tell me what it's like?
Yeah, just elaborate.
Please.
Say more words. Yeah.
No, I was like, yeah.
Not a problem here. Yeah, so thanks for having me. Awesome stuff.
Great, thanks.